They say money talks, but for old money, it whispers. In the corridors of prestigious schools, in the networks built over generations, and in the careers carefully chosen not just for income, but for influence and legacy. If you've ever wondered how dynastic families groom their heirs for success, stay tuned. Because in this video, we're stepping into the world of elite education and careers, where privilege is not just inherited, but strategically maintained. And before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the Luxury Lane and turn on notifications. This channel is your insider pass to the hidden world of the ultra-wealthy and secrets of the world's most discreet elite. The hidden curriculum of old money. Education for old money is never just about academics. It's about shaping a worldview. From the moment a child in a wealthy family is born, the choices around schooling are less about grades and more about grooming. Grooming for leadership, social standing, and quiet authority. These families understand something critical. Schools are not just classrooms. They're cultural ecosystems. Within the ivy-covered walls of boarding schools and elite prep academies, the children of the wealthy are learning more than literature or mathematics. They're learning how to belong to a rarefied world. They're absorbing unspoken codes of conduct, networking skills, and a subtle awareness of their place in the power hierarchy. This is why names like Eton, Harrow, Phillips Exeter Academy, or Choate Rosemary Hall aren't just schools. They're brands, signals of status that resonate across generations. Why old money loves boarding schools? Unlike new money families, who often send their kids to trendy private schools for prestige, old money families value boarding schools because they foster independence, discipline, and most importantly, connections. Boarding school isn't just about academics, it's about environment. Picture a young heir walking the same halls as future prime ministers, CEOs, ambassadors, or royalty. That child isn't just making friends, they're making lifelong allies. And while academics matter, old money schools emphasize tradition. Students are taught not just calculus or Shakespeare, but the art of conversation, how to carry themselves at dinner, and how to maintain composure in challenging social situations. In short, they're being trained not just as students, but as future guardians of influence. Universities, the elite launchpad. Once those formative years are complete, the next step is almost predictable. Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford. The same names appear again and again. But here's the secret. These universities serve more as networking hubs than mere centers of knowledge. A degree from Harvard or Oxford tells the world, this person belongs to a lineage of influence. It's not that old money children can't get a good education elsewhere, it's that these institutions carry generational weight. They are continuity machines, reinforcing the same social circles, values, and connections that their families have relied on for decades. And while the middle class might pursue degrees for economic mobility, old money views higher education as a social filter, a way to maintain exclusivity while offering a veneer of meritocracy. The careers old money prefers. When it comes to careers, old money operates very differently than new money. For new wealth, flashy entrepreneurship or Silicon Valley tech ventures are the golden ticket. But for families who've had wealth for centuries, the goal isn't just profit, it's preservation and influence. This is why you'll often see heirs entering careers in law, not for courtroom battles, but for understanding the frameworks that govern wealth, estates, and international influence. Politics and diplomacy. Power is the ultimate currency, and many old money families have a tradition of producing statesmen and ambassadors. Finance and banking, not necessarily as hustling Wall Street traders, but as partners in legacy firms, private banks, or family offices. Academia and philanthropy, because influence also comes from thought leadership and the control of cultural narratives. Interestingly, very few old money heirs are encouraged to pursue trendy fields or high-risk ventures. Stability and prestige matter more than quick success. Careers they avoid. What about careers old money tends to avoid? That's equally telling. Professions that are too dependent on fame, like acting, professional sports, or influencer culture, are typically discouraged. These paths may bring wealth, but they lack the gravitas of tradition. For old money, reputation is far more important than visibility. In fact, invisibility is often the goal. To blend into powerful but quiet circles is the true hallmark of elite education and career strategy. Case studies: the family pipeline. To truly understand how old money views education and careers, let's look at some real-world examples. Take the Rothschild family, a dynasty that has shaped banking and finance for centuries. Their children were, and still are, educated at elite European institutions like Oxford and Cambridge, not simply for academic prestige, but because these schools create a trusted environment where future financiers, politicians, and aristocrats mingle. Then there's the Kennedy family in the United States. Generations attended Ivy League universities, often Harvard, cementing not only their credentials but also their legacy in politics and law. When Joseph P. Kennedy Sr. sent his sons to these institutions, he wasn't just buying an education, he was buying access to America's future power brokers. Even the British royal family, technically beyond the scope of old money in the traditional sense, follows similar patterns. Princes William and Harry attended Eton College, arguably the most famous boarding school in the world, where they were surrounded not just by elite academics, but by peers who would one day become members of parliament, CEOs, or influential figures in global affairs. These choices highlight a simple truth: education in old money circles is never isolated. It is always part of a pipeline, a seamless path from childhood classrooms to the boardrooms, courtrooms, and government chambers where power is exercised. The hidden network effect. Perhaps the most important lesson of elite schooling is not found in textbooks, but in the alumni directory. The power of old money education lies in its networks. When a child attends Eton or Choate Rosemary Hall, and later Yale or Cambridge, they are automatically tied to an unspoken club, an invisible society of peers who share similar backgrounds and values. This is where who you know becomes more important than what you know. Internships at prestigious law firms, seats on corporate boards, or even entry into politics often come through these connections. Old money ensures its heirs never have to apply cold. Instead, opportunities are arranged through introductions, discreet recommendations, or long-standing family ties. The network effect is why families are willing to spend hundreds of thousands on tuition. Because in this world, a phone call from the right person is worth more than any degree. Mentorship and apprenticeship. Another defining feature of old money education is mentorship, not in the formal academic sense, but through carefully placed guides within the family's network. It's common for a young heir to intern at a friend's bank, shadow a relative in a law firm, or work in a philanthropic foundation run by a family ally. On the surface, these might look like typical career experiences. But in reality, they are highly curated apprenticeships designed to expose the heir to influence, not to risk. For example, a Rockefeller descendant might begin working at a cultural institution like the Museum of Modern Art, not because they need a paycheck, but because this puts them at the intersection of finance, art, and global philanthropy. Mentorship also protects the family name. Instead of letting heirs stumble in uncharted territory, old money ensures they learn the rules of the game from insiders who already know how to play. Family offices as training grounds. Family offices, private companies that manage the wealth of a single family, are another crucial part of the educational journey. Unlike a standard job in finance, family offices are safe spaces where young heirs can learn the mechanics of wealth management, investments, and asset protection under close supervision. It's not unusual for a son or daughter of old money to be given a small investment portfolio to manage, not because the family needs their input, but because this is part of training them for stewardship. Through this, they learn not only about stocks or real estate, but about legacy, how to keep wealth intact for the next century, not just the next quarter. Old money careers versus new money careers. The difference between old and new wealth is stark when it comes to career choices. New money, heirs often embrace entrepreneurship, technology startups, or high-visibility ventures. They're drawn to industries that offer innovation and disruption. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and other self-made billionaires represent this culture. Their children are more likely to pursue careers in engineering, coding, or venture capital, fields that reward boldness and risk. Old money heirs, however, rarely gamble with their futures. Instead, they pursue stability and authority. Their careers are about influence, not innovation. That's why many enter law, finance, or diplomacy, professions that shape the rules of the game rather than playing it. It's the difference between building the casino and writing the laws that regulate it. Old money always chooses the latter. Philanthropy as a career choice. One of the most fascinating aspects of old money careers is the emphasis on philanthropy. While middle-class families often see charity as an afterthought, and new money sometimes treats it as a PR move, old money integrates philanthropy directly into education and career planning. This isn't just about giving back, it's about shaping society. Foundations, museums, research institutes, and universities themselves often bear the names of old money dynasties: Carnegie, Rockefeller, Getty, Mellon. Running or sitting on the boards of these institutions becomes a career path in itself, giving heirs the chance to influence public opinion, education, and culture in subtle but powerful ways. Philanthropy serves three functions: legacy preservation, ensuring the family name is tied to enduring institutions; influence building, positioning heirs in circles where they engage with thought leaders, scientists, and policymakers; reputation management, quietly softening the image of inherited wealth by presenting it as socially responsible. When an old money heir chooses philanthropy, it's rarely just out of altruism. It's a strategic continuation of influence that their schools and careers have prepared them for all along. Education as cultural domination. Another overlooked detail is how education perpetuates not just wealth, but culture. Old money families use education to instill a shared set of values across generations. This includes a sense of restraint, knowing when not to flaunt wealth; an appreciation for the arts, ensuring that cultural taste distinguishes them from nouveau riche excess; global awareness. Many heirs study abroad, mastering languages and customs that keep them comfortable in elite circles worldwide. This cultural dominance is subtle but enduring. The very act of sending a child to Oxford or Yale is a way of ensuring they adopt the mannerisms, speech patterns, and worldview of the global elite. Education isn't just a door to opportunity. It's a polishing tool, ensuring the next generation looks, acts, and thinks like the ones before. The price of privilege. Of course, all of this comes at a price. Tuition for top boarding schools often exceeds $60,000 a year, while elite universities charge similar sums. But for old money, these are not costs, they're investments. Investments in reputation, in social connections, and in the long-term survival of the family's influence. What looks like an expensive education to outsiders is, in truth, the family's most reliable insurance policy against decline. So, what does all of this tell us? That education for old money isn't about knowledge, it's about continuity. From elite prep schools to Ivy League universities, from family offices to philanthropy boards, every step is carefully orchestrated. While others chase degrees for financial stability, old money uses education to secure something much more enduring: power. And that's where the story of elite education ends, quietly, strategically, and always with the next generation in mind.